I titled this video, Why Does Government Lie to Its Citizens? It's to keep us in the dark about stuff. Um, I got a quote from some ancient guy. About education and slavery. Let me read it to you. I don't want to get it wrong. All right. 80 degrees, my computer's coming to life here. There it is. Only the educated are free. That's a nice way to start the evening. That we're slaves. You know, we're are you in a slave mindset kind of thing? All right. I've got a lot of grease on here. Oh, that's much better. Okay. Well, we got 80 degrees. We'll talk about the pyramids in a little bit. I'll try to discuss some. Well, we're just going to share some news. We might discover some things together. I'm not sure Trump did anything this week. Trump's either fixing things or making the liberals mad. I'm worried about the liberals. They're saying stuff like civil war. Shut the fuck up. You people are wimps. What are you going to fight the word with? Bold words? You don't have any guns, liberals. Nothing at SF Gate. Yeah. Dead body found in Palo Alto Park on Friday. Somebody doing drugs. Let's go to Slashdot. Let's start the night with Slashdot. A Friday Slashdot read. Oh, brother. Slashdot is one of the original, like, internet news websites. Cloudflare turns AI against itself with endless maze of irrelevant facts. Why do we care? Cloudflare unveiled AI Labyrinth, a feature designed to thwart unauthorized AI data scraping, feeding bots realistic but irrelevant content instead of blocking them outright. The system lures crawlers Intuitive AI-generated pages containing neutral scientific information, deliberately wasting computer resources of those attempting to collect trained data for language models without permission. So they're trolling the troll. They're trolling the AI language model grifters. When we detect unauthorized crawling, rather than blocking the request, we will link to a series of AI-generated pages that are convincing enough to. Okay, that's a fun story. Amazon CEO criticizes managers' fiefdoms and stresses the need for mediocrity. Sounds like the problems the Soviets had. Let's talk about that. In Soviet Russia, during the USSR, let's say you are the manager of a tank factory. And they're like, we want 10% more production and we'll give you money. You would think that'd motivate them. It didn't. Because there was nothing to spend your money on. The end of communism. Yeah, making people work harder for more money didn't work because there was no products for people to buy. That's why capitalism won. Can you believe it? It's kind of hard to believe, but it's that simple. I was talking to Jessica tonight for like an hour, and I live a pretty humble life. And I was saying, while people are out wage slaving, chasing money to buy shiny objects, I can get all the things I need for free on Craigslist. People make fun of me for living in the desert as a humble guy. You're the ones getting up at 5:30 when you don't want to go to some job to pay rent, so you have a place to keep your knickknacks, shiny things. Literally, you are Indians accepting shiny beads for acres of land, yet you call yourself intelligent. You know, like being a hermit, living off grid, living the life of a humble life, it's not so bad. What happens if you get sick and die, Wayne? I'm not sure there's a way to avoid getting sick and dying. Like, aren't you gonna die? The world's richest people. Steve Jobs, dead, 56. He had all the money. He died. Elon Musk, he's gonna die someday. Donald Trump, lots of money. He's gonna die someday. Jeff Bezos, lots of money. He's gonna die someday. You know, these people are old. They could just be getting drunk by their own pool, just coasting on their what do you call it? Their interest payments. But no, they're waking up early, suiting up. I gotta go. I got a meeting. It's really important. I gotta go, honey. See you tonight. Still clocking in hours? You missed it. I think Elon's done for working. Elon's Elon, but I'm the world's richest man. I'm like, well, maybe I am too, Elon. There's a quote about money. Often it costs too much. A man on his deathbed never says, I wish I worked more. Amazon plans to increase the ratio of individual contributors to managers by 15%. The way to get ahead at Amazon is not to accumulate a giant team and fiefdom, Jesse told employees, stressing that successful leaders get the most done with the least amount of resources. Jesse has established a no bureaucracy email alias that received thousands of suggestions, leading to more than 375 changes. Well, that's what Mazda did and became a successful company. Here's an ad from Slashdot. Did you know Slashdot offers the world's largest business software comparison directory? Director charged with Netflix fraud after splurging on crypto instead of finishing sci-fi series. Hollywood filmmaker Carl Eric Reinsch has been charged with defrauding Netflix $11 million after allegedly misusing funds intended for an unfinished science fiction series, federal prosecutors said. Reinsch, 47, was arrested in West Hollywood this week on charges of wire fraud, money laundering, and unlawful monetary transactions that could result in decades of imprisonment if convicted. Apple sued for false advertising over Apple Intelligence. Good. You know who we should sue is Elon Musk for saying we can earn money on our tweets, but if you upgrade. But when you upgrade, they're like, yeah, but you're not that popular, so no. They should say, if you upgrade and you qualify, you could earn money, but if you qualify, it's not part of it. Meta spotted testing AI-generated comments on Instagram. Why? OpenAI study finds links between ChatGPT use and loneliness. Makes sense. U.S. Treasury Department sanctions watchdog removed cryptocurrency mixing tool Tornado Cash from its global blacklist, following a federal appeals court ruling in November that the Office of Foreign Asset Control couldn't sanction its smart contracts despite the delisting of over 100 Ethereum addresses. I really don't know what they're doing over there in the crypto anymore. Except hustling people. Why are so many of those crypto people hustlers? Man, I need some water. I want to get some milk. I'll be right back. Give me a minute. Yahoo sells TechCrunch. Wow, they were sold long ago for $40 million to AOL, to Regent and Media Investment. Ooh, 100 million? No, that's not the price. Let's see if we can get a price. It didn't exceed 100 million, so it doesn't need regulatory approval. Yahoo News is garbage. Oh, I pour that in my coffee cup where there's a thick brown sludge. Coffee, when you use a French press, you get that coffee mud. Well, then I just poured in milk, so now it looks like chocolate milk, but it's got coffee flavor. Google sues scammer over fake maps listing. Hey, a guy, Google sues scammer over fake map listings. Google has filed a lawsuit against alleged scammer who created and sold fake business profiles on Google Maps. The company said the legal action follows an investigation that uncovered an estimated more than 10,000 illegitimate listings. Investigators began after a Texas business reported an unlicensed locksmith impersonating them on the platform. Google discovered the scam's primary target. Drewless verticals services need an urgent solution like locksmiths and towing companies. Once we're alerted to the actual fraud, we take extreme efforts to identify similar fraudulent listings. The scammer used tactics including bait and switch schemes and intercepting calls to legitimate businesses through lead generation services. They also sold fraudulent positive reviews to suppress negative feedback. Thieves and criminals, they work so hard. The thieves and criminals are like watering a bush that only produces thorns when you could have produced fruit you could have sold. NVIDIA CEO Hong says he was wrong about timeline for quantum. NVIDIA Hong on Thursday walked back comments he made in January when he cast doubt on whether useful quantum computers would hit the market in the next 15 years. Clearview attempted to buy social security numbers and mugshots for its database. Clearview AI attempted to purchase hundreds of millions of arrest records, including social security numbers, mugshots, and email addresses, to incorporate into its product. For years, Clearview AI has collected billions of photos from social media websites, including Facebook, LinkedIn, and others, sold access to its facial recognition tool to law enforcement. The collection and sale of user-generated photos by private surveillance company to police without personal knowledge or consent sparked international outcry when it was first revealed by the New York Times. It would be easy to be mad over all this stuff. Trump signs order aiming to close the education department. what did we learn from the Department of Education? Hmm. Wow, the world's tiniest LED display has pixels smaller than a virus, which is very small. HP escaped customer payouts in breaking lawsuit settlement. Ooh, Google Gmail rolls out AI-powered search. Hmm. Kids are spending too much class time on laptops. I'm not an educator. Hey, Gamarama. I just think that lecturing kids and making them read some material, then testing them might be the way. I'm not sure a laptop is necessary. Also, there's a lot of profit around school books. Why? Shouldn't the US government just produce a school book? And they cost like $5, not $100. Hmm. All right, I'm done with Slashdot. Hello, three people. Um, if vegan's so bad for you, why does this man look so healthy and strong? He doesn't look strong at all. One punch, I can have. Sorry, Chinaman. Can't be real. It says the Democratic Party. Check it out. Anons at 25 seconds. AOC says the Democratic Party farts like. Someone keep and clip this for when the makes her bid for the Senate. Is she really? Is there a link to her talking about? Oh, there is. All right. Nah, we're not going to hear it. I'm not going to play it. I think the Democrats are just forever broken. I don't see the Democrats recovering. As far as that goes, I don't think America's going to recover. At some point, America's going to be at war with Iran on behalf of Israel. And it's going to take a false flag to get Americans to go along with this. It says Indians are the brightest and hardest working race. Well, if that's true, then why don't they have toilets? Why are Indians living in such filth? And why do they all want to come to America? Well, I just thought of something diabolical. Have you noticed white people never want to move to black neighborhoods? That the blacks always want to move to the white neighborhood. So what if all the white people just moved to Africa? Black people would be like, where'd Whitey go? Well, you're never going to believe this. Where? Africa? You don't say. Within a generation, if we could get all the blacks to move to Africa to follow us, why don't we find some nation in Africa and buy them out and start the perfect white colony? Then build enough housing for the blacks to move into. Then, when all the blacks move to Africa, we move back to America. It'd make a funny movie, at least. They're saying gold's going to go up 40% by 2016 first quarter, so a year from now. Right now it's at 4,000, so they're saying it's going to go to 6,000. Wow. That means basically 50% inflation. Thanks, Trump. Yenta. Is Yenta a Jewish woman? What does Yenta mean? Let's ask Grok. What is a Yenta? A Yiddish term for originally referred to a busybody or gossipy somebody, typically a woman who meddles in other people's affairs and loves to spread and collect news about others. Think of the nosy neighbor who knows everyone's business and isn't shy about sharing it. The word comes from Yiddish yenti, which was popularized in Jewish communities and later entered broader English use. Yentas of TikTok. Oh, that's funny. This is it's so funny. So racist. I love it. This is the gold of my evening. Yentas of TikTok. I gotta send this to Jessica. Oh boy. Oh man. It's a slow night. Sorry if my stream is kind of dull. All right, we're covering more news topics here. How does Trump look this good at 79? Hamburgers? He's got a pretty hot wife. Maybe it's I wonder if they're even still sleeping together, but it could be just he has a good sex life. The Air Force just unveiled the new airplane, the F-47 fighter. Yeah, because our old fighters don't work anymore. Like, let's quit fighting. Hmm. There isn't really a picture of it yet. No. Trump gave 500 billion to tech bros for an AI thing. This is kind of true. What if everything is staged? Like right here. The moon. Yeah, there's a pretty good chance a lot of our life is not the way we thought it would. Thought it happened. Things that didn't happen the way we thought they did. And if those things are faked, then that's actually fraud. Whew. This guy's totally insufferable. This guy. He's the worst. Hmm. Well, I'm going to call this a slow week. Since this week was so slow, probably a happening this weekend. Oh, this week was the JFK files being released, but oh, this is funny. This woman here makes song about how proud she is to be fat. Ozempic comes along, she's on it like white on rice. Let's see what she looks like now. Oh, she looks nice. All about that bass. As soon as the miracle drug came along, they stopped pretending they were proud of being fat. Well, she's going to have turbo cancer, sadly. Donald Trump suggests U.S. could join British Commonwealth. That would be treason. We left Britain on purpose. Will Trump trigger a civil war? Well, the Democrats don't have anything to fight the Civil War with. I guess they could just start burning everything. But I don't think there's any fight in the Democrats. All they want to fight over are pronouns. They don't want real violence. They're afraid of real violence. They do all kinds of sneaky bullshit, but they're not willing to do any kind of real violence. Some of those pyramid images, they're trying to say that it's not possible to penetrate the earth that deep. So those images could be fake. Huh? Hawasi, the guy in charge of Egyptian antiquity would never allow any kind of digging, so we're never going to know anyways. Trump yells at Elon. Let's see. It's a picture. It doesn't look like they're yelling. Well, 36 minutes, that's not much, but it's something. A restaurant. We will not seat or serve any guests with autism. George Foreman, who was a boxer, passed away today. Robert Kennedy Jr. is trying to get phones out of schools because it produces magnetic radiation, which has been shown to do neurological damage. Macy's is closing 150 stores with a $21 billion loss. They were blaming online sales. The White House shall not be infringed. What happens, that's my surveillance system, and little bugs will fly in front of the camera, and it treats it like movement. It's really no way. Hey, Tetrahedricon. Yeah, I did hear about the discovery under the pyramid. I've done a lot of videos on it, dude. I think it's for terraforming the Earth. I think they're using electrolysis to separate hydrogen and oxygen, and they're burning the hydrogen to make explosions to vibrate the rock to repeat the process over. And so the coil is either for the hydrogen or the oxygen. It separates it because the positive lead is oxygen and the negative lead is hydrogen when you're doing electrolysis. And most likely that's seawater. If they go down 1,800 feet, the bottom of the pyramid is at 120 feet above sea level currently. I really want them to look at other structures. I also want them to look at Antarctica and see what's under the ice. I'll show you a few things here. Oh, I know. Well, I think the pyramids were built by a praying mantis, 8 foot tall. So you'll notice the white tubes all connect. Then they got this horseshoe shape thing here, which is entirely weird. And that horseshoe shape appears to be along the corridor, evenly spaced. I don't know why they need to be even. And this is probably more of a gas reservoir than a water reservoir, because if it's water, then water would just be sitting in here. I think the blue is oxygen and the white is hydrogen. It could be years before we know. This is another neat photo. This is truly miraculous. And the other photo I really like is, this is just super unbelievable. This one right here. Because this, so it's balanced. Why do you need, it's balanced because it's a system. I think it's an explosion system, and the nitrogen comes up, not nitrogen, hydrogen comes up. Yeah, well, they remote viewed it. So the remote viewers said it was the praying mantis, but maybe the praying mantis and the Anunnaki are working together. This photo is so beautiful. Like, look at how symmetrical it is. Level, and this one's interesting. Like, look at this pathway. That's a trapezoidal going towards the middle. Why can't you do it with one path? Why can't it just be one pathway? It doesn't have to be trapezoidal. And it's also trapezoidal here. And this is a big, I think these all are kind of like mufflers. Like this is where the hydrogen is. And this also, like, this is not center, about the center of the pyramids here. So there's a lot of weight. So this goes kaboom. And it's going to create a lot of jiggling. So I think this is all made to make this big green thing jiggle. And when that jiggles, it makes electricity. And this is the King's Chamber. So this is 850 tons of rock, and it can go up and down. And when this rock bends, it makes electricity. And this here is called, well, there's something here called the portacelises. I've been onto this for like 5 years. These go up and down. I mean, they're fixed. There's a rope that's lowering it. Well, why would you need, somebody was calling these like trap doors. Bullshit. This is a waveguide. So by lowering it, it changes the shape of the oscillating wave that would be going like this. So I think what happens is when this here, when the orange goes boom, a massive flood of air comes in here as pressure and tries to, it maybe even lifts this up a millimeter. Then it comes crashing down. And when it crashes, that's squeezing the rock, which makes electricity. So when the hydrogen, I think, explodes inside this. By the way, the green and the red are all connected. Yeah, so this is the Grand Gallery. Well, actually, maybe that's not true. Maybe the red is not connected to the green. But I still think that, well, my theory is that the Queen's Chamber has hydrogen going up these shafts, and there's a spark gap in here. Let me show you the spark gap. Here. So this is called Ganter Brink's door. And here's a robot. They drove a robot in it. And it's a very long pathway. Oops. Also in the Queen's Chamber, um, here's the Queen's Chamber here, and it goes up all the way out, and it's like 8 inches square. But right here in the middle is a door with, they call that a handle. But this isn't a handle, this is a spark gap. So on the other side, or on this side, but most likely the other side, static electricity is making this do a lightning bolt, and then it goes, this ignites the hydrogen. And I think that the hydrogen is naturally occurring because of the frequency of the pyramid. Like at 6 cycles per second, I think there's enough vibration of the King's Chamber to make a little bit of electricity to come down to the subchamber where there used to be water to make hydrogen. But there must be wires. There must be some wire somewhere. If there's no water here, there's obviously water in this blue thing. Somehow they got wires bringing electricity from up here down to there. So this rock is piezoelectric. When you squeeze it, it makes electricity. But there's also static electricity from the desert wind. So just the wind blowing by this is going to create static electricity. And so some of that electricity is going to come inside and eventually go down and make some hydrogen, I suspect. I'm sure the Anunnaki are behind this, but to me this is terraforming. And if you see that structure below the other pyramids, then it most likely is terraforming, making oxygen for our planet. Maybe after the dinosaurs died and there was lots of burning, maybe the oxygen burned up. But doesn't it recycle? Let me ask Grok. When the dinosaurs died in the meteor strike and there was lots of fire, would the Earth lose its oxygen content? Question mark. I don't know how old the pyramids are. Like, modern science is trying to say, well, they used to say the Egyptians were there 4,000 years ago, but most people say they're 12,000 years old. When dinosaurs went extinct due to meteor strike about 66 million years ago, there was indeed a lot of chaos, fire, dust, dramatic climate shifts. You question whether the Earth would lose its oxygen content is an interesting one, so let's break it down. Let's read this together. The meteor impact, widely believed to have struck the Yucatan Peninsula, would have triggered massive wildfire, especially given debris heat generated. These fires would consume oxygen as it burned through the forest and organic material. However, the Earth's atmosphere didn't lose its oxygen content in any permanent or significant way. Here's why. Scale of oxygen use. While wildfires use oxygen to burn, the total amount of oxygen in the atmosphere then and now is massive. About 21% of the atmosphere, or roughly 1.2 billion cubic tons a day, Even wildfires couldn't have consumed enough to noticeably deplete it globally. Most of the oxygen would have been replenished over time by natural processes. Okay. Post impact effect. Debris shot into the atmosphere, blocking sunlight, crashing photosynthesis rates plants, phyto, phytoplankton, which produce oxygen, die off in large numbers, temporarily slowing oxygen production. Yeah, I mean, somebody commented, and rightfully so, well, what did the dinosaurs live on? Um, could the pyramids have been built during the time of the dinosaurs? Well, I would expect them to be buried under dirt because the earth is accumulating a certain amount of, like in 10 years, we might get a millimeter of dirt that didn't exist. It comes from outer space. I don't know the answer. This is just my theory of what it is, but I think it's pretty logical. We're not addressing the major components of the pyramid. It's a machine, all right? This is a total fucking machine. And that's not a stairway. Why would you need 8 stairways? If you had a stairway, you just have one. And I thought, well, maybe it was a way to get out the debris, but it's alongside it. So you would have to, if you started at the top and dug down, okay, if you're up here and you start digging down, I guess you could dig this and empty that hole out, but there's no way the white line does not transfer to the blue area. They're separate entities. So the dirt from the blue area does not go over to the white area. So you'd have to pull it out with buckets. Then I thought, well, what if you mine up straight up this way and then the dirt falls to the bottom and then you take it out that way? That's possible. Can't we put artificial intelligence on it and say, here's the measurements, and what if it was full of hydrogen? How would this work? I think I'm right, actually. But I might, maybe we'll know. I've spread this information all across the internet. So people, and then I used the word, I searched Google, or I'm sorry, X for terraforming, and people were talking about terraforming. So I might have give people enough nudge in the right direction to investigate it further. Mm-hmm. I can't believe I did an hour. I'm so tired. I took my car for a drive today, and it drove really well. I was able to get up to 80 miles an hour, no overheating. It kind of felt like the emergency brake. Well, when I come to a slowdown, I was like, it was a whistling, woo, 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 like the emergency brake was on, or like a brake caliper was stuck. It was howling. It was going. It was howling from the brakes. Um, maybe the guys. I don't know. Um, anyways, it kind of seemed to be reduced when I got home. It was still howling a little bit. As you like, before you stop, it was like whistling, and then it stopped. So it's wheel sensitive. I put the car in neutral, and it didn't change the noise. So it's definitely isolated to the disc brakes. But I either have a stuck caliper. Actually, I'm going to go out there right now and spray some WD-40 on all the calipers. I mean, it did sit for 6 months, but there's no reason. I have a feeling the guys doing the exhaust pulled on one of the cables, which made the brakes sticking. I don't know. I'm not that worried. I'm really happy with the performance. All right, friends. Tetrohedricon and Gamma Rama, thanks for coming in. Have a good Friday night. Be safe. If you drink alcohol, have a vitamin C and some water